Hi, and welcome back to Thriving Beyond the Stethoscope. It's Natalie Tyler, nurse practitioner, and I'm here with one of my amazing community partners. I'm so excited to be able to interview him today. With he's an emotional intelligence consultant, family and executive coach, and founder of a performance based coaching model that helps high achieving professionals regulate under pressure. Mike works with physicians, executives, parents, and leaders who look successful on the outside, but are navigating emotional overload behind the scenes. His work bridges neuroscience, leadership, psychology, and family systems, helping people move from burnout and suppression to clarity, resilience, and sustainable success. Welcome, Mike.
Thanks for having me. Thanks for having me, Natalie. It's a pleasure to be here with you.
Yes, every time I look at your bio or read your bio, I'm like, I understand why we're friends. It can help regulate me.
And the
um,
vice versa. You're awesome, man. Go ahead.
yeah. Well, before I get into the questions for you, I actually wanted to ask you what kind of led you down this path to create this business and do what you do?
Yes, absolutely. So my background has been in mental health and addictions. I have over 15 years. I'm working there as a therapist and a clinical liaison for some time. And I guess the stretch I went independent kind of during COVID. And yeah, since then, I think it's been about 6 years now, 5 or 6 years now since I've been working independently. I also I do still do work with the corporate world contractually, but mostly as an executive consultant and as a coach, it's allowed me to kind of broaden the field and have a deeper impact with the people that I work with um, independently. So yeah, I've been doing this for a little bit, but we're here now, and I've been finding great impact and success in the business so far. So, and I get to meet and work with awesome professionals like Natalie.
Like someone
So
like here.
yes, yes,
Oh, you're always amazing, Mike. I love impact that we both make. So it's really great
yes.
partnership. So to my questions, why are so many successful adults emotionally exhausted right now?
I love that question. Great question. High achievers, like, we're trained to produce and not to process. So like, professionals tend to carry responsibility well, but they don't discharge stress well. So over time, unprocessed pressure becomes emotional exhaustion naturally. And I always share or teach or educate that it's not weakness, it's just accumulated activation, which naturally leads into overfunctioning. So
A
when
great
that
response.
goes misdirected, that leads to emotional exhaustion.
Yeah, I got some more questions later. I'm already thinking about neurobiology. I don't worry, I won't kill you clinically, but
I got
it
you.
can definitely mess with the brain, all types of trauma and stress that we even
Yes.
create for ourselves. Okay, so what does emotional dysregulation actually look like in someone who appears high functioning?
Okay, so it's not dramatic. It's not dramatic at all. It's actually very subtle. It looks like irritability at home. It looks like decision fatigue. It looks like sleep disruption and overreacting to like small inconveniences. So because it's high performing individuals or high functioning professionals or whatever the case is, they're still able to perform at work, but their nervous system never truly settles.
Yes.
So it's very subtle.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not as loud as we think it is.
Absolutely. People need to pay attention to their coworkers and their high stress.
100%.
Why do you think that the high achievers tend to struggle silently since it's, subtle?
Be, I love that question. It's because they're usually the strong one in the room, Nat. They're usually the strong one in the room. And when your identity is built on competence and strategy because you're the leader, it feels unsafe to admit that you're overwhelmed. So high achievers tend to manage like the systems privately instead of really addressing the roots of what's really going on, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. I was just thinking, I love your insight on it because it goes so much deeper than just the surface of, what it appears they're going through. It's
Right,
deeper, like to the roots, like you said.
right.
I knew we get along for so many reasons. um, what what do you think, at least from your perspective, what's kind of happening in the brain and the body when someone's constantly feeling overwhelmed from what we're talking about here?
Yes, yes. Well, I can definitely share by way of personal experience,
Sure.
of course, in the field. So whether it's professionally or platonically or whatever the case is, practically when you're constantly overwhelmed, your nervous system is stuck in threat mode. And that's what we don't necessarily realize. Like the cortisol stays elevated, the emotional brain gets louder, and the strategic brain gets quieter, if that makes sense. So it's usually taught that overwhelm is a mindset issue. To me, it's not really a mindset issue. It's really a nervous system issue. And
Absolutely.
so, but when we get stuck in, when we think it's a mindset issue, we try to deal with it rationally or logically. That doesn't help our overthinkers
No, it
because
doesn't.
it creates paralysis by overanalysis when it's really a nervous system issue, an emotional issue, and we just kind of need to allow the body to kind of take some reprieve or just to kind of allow our nervous system to relax, and we follow that instead so that our intellect could actually start to think clearly.
You're just hitting it so well on the head because even like with the SANE certification I'm doing, there's a lot of different lectures and it's taking
Mm-hmm.
me back to my neurobio education. So you couldn't be more correct. So like when you have that trauma or that stress, there's different parts of our brain that react, right? So when you're talking about like the amygdala, which processes our emotions, right? And our stressors. So that's going to then trigger our HPA axis, right? Our hypothalamus or pituitary, and then our adrenals.
Yes.
And that's kicking in our sympathetic nervous system, which is fight flight. But then they recently included fight, flight, or freeze. So even you
Yes.
mentioning the freeze. And so you really have to figure out how to calm down these hormones or systems that are happening because it's so prehistoric that's ingrained into our body of what to do in these
Mm-hmm.
different moments that these hormones that are trying to protect us are
Mm-hmm.
actually
It's
hurting
actually
us.
hurting
Yes.
us.
And then
It's not
it
healing, it's actually hurting. Right.
it's not. So you're right when somebody says, "Oh, it's all in your head or it's something you can control." I mean, they're right, it's in your head because that's what your organs are doing. They're producing these hormones. However, it's not necessarily something that you can control in those instances with those hormones that are taking over all these things. And then it slows down your prefrontal cortex where you can't do that complex processing or a processing of different series of thoughts. So even when you talk about like professionals trying to perform at work and then they can't come home and perform as well or they're having struggles at home versus work, it can be this constant cycle. And that's kind of where you come in to help people break it up too.
Absolutely. Yeah. So it's I work to make it make sense in a very practical, pragmatic way because I understand it could be very, very theoretical, but I love the way you just broke it down neurologically and even as it displays physiologically within our bodies. There are some, and I'm sure we're going to get into it, but there are baseline practical methods that we could utilize that will actually take us away from our mind and allow us to be more present with our body or our nervous system that will actually help our mindset. And sometimes we think the two work against each other, where that's not the case at all. They're
Yeah.
for each other. But the thing that necessarily caused the problem, we might not find that very thing to actually solve. the issue. So, which is another that's another class for another day.
Whole
But
other series, right?
yes,
Yeah, actually, I think that was actually one of my questions that was coming up is here, we'll get to it. What is the one immediate reset tool someone can use in the middle of like a chaotic day or situation where they're experiencing these things?
okay. So that's a great question. An immediate reset tool that I recommend is two short inhales through the nose and one long exhale through the mouth. Doing that 3 times.
Hmm.
There are things like diaphragmatic breathing, or box breathing. There are different kinds of breathing methodologies, um, that's effective, but just a simple thing that anyone can do. Two short inhales through the nose, very quick, and one long exhale through the mouth 3 times. That simple breath pattern tells your nervous system you're safe,
Yes. And I know
you're
you
calm.
know this, but in case other people don't, and I think we talked about the other day that those kind of actions that you do, or even splashing cold water on your face, those are activating your vagus nerve, and that's really what's causing your nervous system to kind of reset almost. But I love both options.
Absolutely.
You don't have to have
Absolutely.
cold water; you can breathe.
You can breathe. You
You
can
can
breathe.
breathe.
But the cold water is another great suggestion.
Hmm.
Splashing it on your face or getting a cold rag if you have the chance and putting it in the back of your neck.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. There, if you have a pillow, right, in the moment, and you feel like expressing, you can literally bury your face in the pillow and just scream.
Yes.
And 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 I'm sure you could connect that to the different areas of the brain and the nervous system as
I'll
far
say
as
it
those
just
fees
feels
that it
good.
brings.
That's all I was gonna
Yeah,
say.
it just feels amazing, doesn't it?
It does. I think we're just going to need to carry emotional support pillows to work, is what I'm hearing.
You heard it here first, but go
That's
ahead.
right. It's a patent idea. No, just kidding. Okay. What do you think the difference is between burnout and emotional dysregulation?
I love that question. Uh, Simply stated, burnout is depletion,
Hmm.
and dysregulation is instability. Like burnout says, I'm empty,
Hmm.
where dysregulation says, I cannot return to the baseline. They overlap, but they're not necessarily the same.
Absolutely agree.
Burnout has a way where it's burnout comes from a place of prolonged stress exposure.
Hmm.
So you can be like I'll say it like this: you can be busy but and regulated, but you can be dysregulated without being busy,
That's a great statement. I can see it all
right?
day, every day. Yeah. Hmm.
Yes, and well, where burnout is energy loss.
Yeah.
Yeah, and dysregulation that just means your nervous system has become unstable.
Yeah, and I know you have a lot of great tips and tricks, especially for your clients, as far as like emotional regulation and emotional intelligence. And that comes across like, when we're talking or when I see with other people, that emotional intelligence that you have, and you can actually help put that on other people. So you do a very good job at what you do.
Thank you, Nat. I
Of
really
course.
appreciate it. And I will definitely share examples of such and how to
Yeah.
um, when it calls for it. Like one quick, one quick thing.
Yeah.
I think it definitely helps to understand self-awareness. Shakespeare, to thy own self be true. When we understand who we are, whether we're audio learners, visual learners, or kinesthetic learners, um, for the kinesthetic person, they might just need to go out and literally touch grass. That's a new saying that I'm learning from my children. I love it. It's valid. Get outside.
Yeah.
Feel. Feel earth or feel sand or touch or be creative. Whether it's knitting, sewing, do something actively with your hands. If it's someone who is an audio learner, um, things like music
Hmm.
helps. Things like going outside again and listening to the birds, or opening ourselves up to listening to things that we would like to hear. Let's say if we're in an office setting, And if we're able to take a break, if you can't make it to the beach, then bring the beach to you.
I love
We
it.
have YouTube,
Yeah.
all right?
I love it.
Yeah, little things like this could make such a significant difference.
It does. I
Yes, yes.
I just love I love it all because I'm sitting here thinking I'm like, oh, could I bring virtual reality with me and just lay there in my chair and watch the beach? But it's relaxing, it's taking you away. So I can relate to nursing. Like when I were used to work on the floor and you just hear these beeps all the time of all you get alarm
Yes.
fatigue, right? I can imagine
Talk about it.
people who sit in the office and they hear like the copier going all day or the phone ringing. Same thing. It's just taking that time away, even 30 minutes, and it just kind of resets your HPA axis, right? It helps you to calm down that
100%.
nervous system. It gives you a physical break from what you're seeing and what you're hearing so that you can kind of reset even over lunch.
100%. And
I
that
love
is,
it.
I love that you mentioned that because what we don't realize is when if we're not careful, we're being conditioned
Mm-hmm.
to what, and this is already happening, but the abnormal state is being normalized
Yeah.
and it's kind of, and it, there's this false sense of it removing choice from us being able to regulate ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
When we don't realize that we need regulation, that creates a whole nother issue. So what you just shared, like just in the hospital setting, getting away
Yeah.
from the constant beeping, whether it's for 30 minutes or even for 15 minutes,
Sure.
it would make such a difference.
I mean, even if there's no sound, because I'm thinking about when I worked in oncology and you're just mentally strained from all these complex patients and you're having to be ready to help them and you give different types of news like whether you're cured cancer or you're starting cancer or you have incurable cancer and that weighs on
Yes.
you as a provider, but when you're at work you sit there and think I have all these charts, I got to keep going, I got to keep going, and a lot of times we just skip lunch and we just chart through lunch and we're like we'll just bang it out and we'll do everything we need to do, but that's what creates that internal anxiety, stress, and burnout, but it can also create that emotional dysregulation. So I know I became a huge proponent at lunch just to step outside in the sun, unless it's raining because it's Southwest Florida, but just to get out so that my brain can shut off. So even your high performer executives who are in their office suites making high level decisions all the time at work, they need to know to take time, even 30 minutes, just to reset so they can actually perform better, is my thought. What's your thought?
Absolutely true. Absolutely true. Because the fear is if I get away for a moment, then I'm going to lose time, then I'm going to be backed up, then I have more work to do. And that is true to it's well, no, I'm just gonna be frank. It's not true.
Yeah.
It's not true. And I don't want to dismiss the idea,
Mm-hmm.
right? But what happens is when you're working in overwhelm and overfunctioning, and you think you're moving faster and effectively, but how many mistakes are made during those times?
Yeah.
Rather than to be able to get away, to reset for a moment, and then to come back into the space with clarity
Yes.
and understanding and with rejuvenated energy. It actually makes you far more effective for the patient, for the client that you're serving, that you're dealing with. So being able to refill your tank, so to say, so that you can be more of a valuable asset to the person that you're serving
Yeah.
is absolutely crucial and necessary.
I love it. What do you do for yourself in those moments? Do you ever find yourself in those moments?
Do I ever? You want to pull out my burnout journal and my
Yeah,
burnout
let's do
books?
it. No, I'm just kidding.
No, no,
We'll
no,
compare
no,
notes.
no. There once was a time, and I've learned to first and foremost set boundaries,
Hmm.
create boundaries, which there's a class that I actually teach on this, boundaries and burdens that creates overfunctioning.
Yeah.
But for me, what has helped me yes, I have dealt with it more than enough times, but I've set certain times and spaces are designated times and spaces that are untouched now to where I do have a self-care day or days if needed. So I set limits and boundaries and spaces to where if this day comes, you will not be able to find me. You cannot reach me unless in case of break classic in case of emergency.
Sure.
There are certain people that will be able to reach me in case of emergency, but I go away.
Mm-hmm.
I go to the beach when I'm able to, Southwest Florida, if
Yep.
it's not raining.
Right.
Um, but guess what? If it's raining, we can dance in the rain.
So right.
It's probably a crazy thought, but it's I love to make lemonade out of lemons.
Mm-hmm.
I get away and just listen to music. Um, Spend time with my children, just watching them, because
Mm-hmm.
sometimes if I feel depleted of energy, maybe daddy's not in the mood to be bombarded right now. But if I go out and get away and just kind of breathe for a little bit in the backyard or just go play a sport or go work out,
Mm-hmm.
by the time I'm able to come back and actually be present for my kids, that starts to fuel me as well. So anything, walks, gym, running, eating, if it's in control, because it's
Yep.
also a
Controlled.
stress reliever as well.
That's okay. You can get diabetes and I'll cure you. That's okay. Let's just do that.
But just very practical things that we can do on a day to day,
Yeah.
that just help restore balance, in a way.
I love it because sometimes people get so, I feel like when I'm talking to them about these things, whether it's any of my places of work, they always make it seem like it's just this big to do or this big event for them to be able to do something like that. And I think the way that you teach people and then myself too, just taking those small increments, it's almost like, oh, yeah, I could do that. I didn't think
It's
about that. That's easy. It takes 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 30 minutes. But it's not like you have to plan your whole day around it. It shouldn't be stressful to think of those moments to take
right.
for yourself. So,
Absolutely. It's like you're giving yourself permission
yeah,
to put yourself first in the moment, which is absolutely okay. And
absolutely.
that's a lot of that's a lot of what I do as well.
Yeah.
It's reminding people that you are allowed to give yourself permission.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I love it. Are there any other? I know you talked about some of the different coping mechanisms and way to process. Are there
Mhm.
any other kind of daily habit helpful hints that help to build emotional resilience?
Oh, yes, absolutely. Great question. If it's a daily habit,
Mm-hmm.
so what you're inferring to is a routine,
Yeah.
and we underestimate the power of routine. If we are to establish a certain routine, like let's say a morning walk,
Mm-hmm.
um, or cutting off the television or the phone after a certain time, these little things, communicating with a friend
Mm-hmm.
or a colleague and making sure we're not talking about work.
Yeah.
Yeah, serving, sharing compliments with someone, at the store. I'm not telling you to go out there and be a do missionary work,
Yeah.
but if we're outside, right, or if we're going into a store or a gas station or whatever the case is, um, even if it's with the teller, call them by name, make them smile. These little things, they add up and they feed. They feed us. I'm not trying to get woo, but they feed our energy. They feed our spirit. It feeds our soul. These little things, and they help. So if we make it a point to be intentional
Mm-hmm.
about caring for ourselves consistently,
Yeah.
even if it's 5 minutes a day,
Mm-hmm.
that little thing could make a significant difference as it compounds.
I love it. Even when you're talking, I was sitting there thinking I've started doing that myself where I like it or I feel better. I don't know what it is about me. It could be a person walking the grocery store, I'm like, oh, I love that shirt. And I think it's the
Yes,
fact that they enjoy the compliment that it then feeds into my own dopamine receptors and makes me feel better, but it's also I
I
don't know,
did something good
self-selfishness.
today.
Yeah, like kind of like I did something good today, but also not that selfish in that sense. It's just nice, like you said, to make somebody else feel seen, I guess. And I don't know if that's my own self-perplexing way of not feeling seen, and we can go into a whole other psych thing of that as well.
That's another class for another
It's
day, but you're
another
absolutely
class.
right.
Yeah.
Um, but there's so much brain brainwashing
Mm-hmm.
that occurs where we think that like what you said, right? Even if I said something to make someone feel better,
Mm-hmm.
and if it makes me feel better, and I'm not speaking about you at all, I'm
Mm-hmm.
just speaking generally, or even about myself,
Yeah.
it's okay for me to feel good about making someone else feel good. But I understand for our overthinkers out there, after we shared the compliment or whatever it is that we identified in them that was true,
Mm-hmm.
some of us walk away and think like, was that genuine? Did I really do that to make myself feel good? Was there some kind of innuendo or selfish motive behind that?
Yes, I can totally see it.
It's the kind of does.
Oh my god, this is why you can't have two like psych people in the room. We're just gonna keep going because it makes so much sense. We could go around the circle and the circle. I understand the message. Completely agree with you. It's okay to feel good about
It's
doing
okay to feel
something.
good.
It's
Have grace
okay.
for yourself. It's
Yes.
okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love it. Okay. Couple more questions.
Yes, yes, yes.
How do maybe you, and we kind of might have touched on this already, but how do you regulate when you're triggered but still have responsibilities? And that doesn't necessarily have to be you yourself, or maybe this is how you counsel people, whatever you're comfortable with. But
Okay. Thank you. That's good because it ties in with the question that you just asked. Regulation. One big thing about regulation, regulation before consumption,
mm-hmm.
movement. These are like so some of the habits again, right?
Yeah.
Because for me, it falls right into that question. Like when we have scheduled times for decompression, when we're naming our emotions and having honest conversations weekly, these are
Mm-hmm.
some of the habits that will help us um, be regulated.
Yeah.
Uh, Um, with resilience, resilience isn't built in crisis. Resilience is actually built in rhythm. So with regulation, it doesn't mean that you have to feel calm
Mm-hmm.
with regulation. It simply means that you are aware enough to slow down your breathing, to lower your tone, and to delay reactive decisions. Some of us just naturally we tend to speak like this, and when we leave the workspace, we come home with all this energy. Or if we're depleted, then we're easily triggered
Yeah.
because it's almost like don't talk to me, don't tell me anything. But if we just learn to just kind of slow down and lower our tone,
Mm-hmm.
that actually helps to delay reactive decisions. Even while whatever it is that we're responsible, even while responsibility continues, it actually helps us to slow down in the moment. So for me personally, it really helps me in moments that I'm used to easily trigger me.
Mm-hmm.
For me, I've learned to step back. This is responding versus reacting, right?
Yeah.
I've learned to be mindful of, and let's just be honest, this is 90% of the time. There's still that 10%.
Yeah.
Listen,
Love the honesty.
gotta be
Yep.
transparent. I am. This is who I am, and this is how I am with the people that I work with too. But when I hear myself speaking in a certain tone, if I'm aware of that, I cut it off instantly. And sometimes it's words like, "Hey, well, what happened?" And then I just come back with a lower tone.
Yeah.
And it's amazing how that actually shifts the atmosphere.
I can only imagine. Like if you did that to me, I'd be like, what happened? Are we okay? Not just to the other people, but to you too. I can imagine that that's very redirecting, and that's where your emotional intelligence comes in, and that's where a lot of people can learn from you and what you teach.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah, I love it.
Great questions. I love it.
Yeah, last question, unless I can think of a sneaky one.
Okay.
It's what would you say to the professional who looks fine on the outside but feels like they're drowning on the inside?
You're not broken. You're overloaded. The strength that you got here is good, but sustainability requires emotional skill. What's very important, and I teach this um, in my classes or in my one-on-ones, high performance without regulation collapses all the time. High performance with regulation, that's what creates lasting successes. That's what creates longevity in business, not only for financially, but also the morale within the business, and the family dynamic. It creates legacy, and it's allowing ourselves to know that we're not as broken as we think we are in the moment. We're just doing too much, and it asks of us to step back in order for us to see the forest from the trees.
I love your insights and your emotional intelligence and the way you present. So I can understand why all of your patients, just absolute or clients, actually just love you. I'm sure there's 10% in there, but oh, Mike. Okay, is
I need to
there?
send you to them.
Yeah, right. I'll pick up the slack from there. I can, psych medication management. We're good. We'll take care of them as a whole. Well, Mike, do you have anything else that you want to leave anybody with or anything else about your business?
Okay. I'll share. I'll share this. First, thank you again, Matt, for your platform and for what you're doing, and the lives that you've impacted, and the communities that you're going to continue to impact. For me, if there was something that I wanted to share, healthcare, and I love working with you and the projects that we have coming, because you're an example of it. Healthcare is evolving,
Mm.
and clinical excellence is essential. We understand that professionally, we understand that clinically, but emotional stability, I believe, is what sustains it,
Yeah.
and that's something that you're very good at too. I've known you and witnessed what you've done, and a lot of your giftings too. I think you're a secret psychologist, therapist somewhere in there too, but another story for another day. For me though, if we want providers who don't burn out,
Yeah.
families who don't collapse under diagnosis, and leaders that thrive long term, we have to learn to integrate regulation into performance. And I believe communities all over, but even with regards to Collier County, Dade County, wherever it is, communities like that will feel that shift when we are able to regulate and make emotional intelligence a part of our performance. It's not about adding more to people's plates, it's about stabilizing the people that's actually carrying the plates. So one of the most significant things for me is to understand that thriving
Mhm.
and thriving beyond the stethoscope,
My hand's right. The
it's not
right.
just it's I love it. I love it because it's not just a podcast name. It's literally the future of sustainable care.
Yes.
And I feel like that's where the future needs to go, and that's what's going to create a deeper efficiency and deeper change within the community, especially with regard to clinical excellence. So for me, a little bit about my business.
Yeah.
Since
Tell
you
me.
shared it,
Yeah.
I say if you're a high performing professional listening and something resonated, it's a sign that you are not failing. Please understand me, you're not failing. It's just a sign that you're ready to evolve. And the conversations are definitely welcome to have. between Natalie and myself. And I love what I do. I've been doing what I've been doing close to 2 decades now. And as an executive coach and consultant, I'm here to serve the people.
That's why I just love
Yes.
everything about you. And I love our collaboration and how we are going to bring that future here and now. And we have the same ideologies of working together and collaborating. And the whole purpose is to help people. I mean, I know I'm being cliche, but thrive. We really
Yes.
do want to help people thrive because if we can get them to thrive, we can also thrive. And we're going to thrive within our own because we can help each other cope and we can help, you can help those working professionals. But it's really just that root of change in mindset and not competition. It's purely collaborative. How can I build on you and you build on me so that our communities can thrive, for lack of better words?
Said it better myself.
Yeah, it's great. Thank you,
That's it.
Mike, so much for coming on. I really appreciate it. And you have such great words of wisdom for everybody. And I look forward to doing future series with you. And we're just heads up to everybody listening is that we're going to be doing future education sessions together in the community. So we'll be focusing on Ave Maria and Immokalee, at least currently, and just
Yes.
trying to help with that emotional regulation from kids to adults. Because as we always
Yes.
say, stay regulated moms and dads make regulated children, and we're just a whole regulated family. And then we can grow up a great community together that can sustain.
100%.
I,
That's what it's about.
I can't wait.
Nat, I look forward to continuing this with you. Thank you.
Yes, absolutely. Well, thank you for everybody that joined us today on Thriving Beyond the Stethoscope. And thank you to Coach Mike for coming on. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.